Good day, grade 7. Welcome to Valenzuela Live. I am Ma'am Maylene and I will be your virtual science teacher for today. In today's episode, we will be talking about motions of the Earth. Earth basically has two types of motions. They are rotation and revolution. These two motions are responsible for different kinds of phenomena, such as day and night, and the different seasons. Today's objectives are the following. Number 1, using the Sun-Earth-Moon model, describe the movement of the Earth with respect to Sun. Number 2, using models, relate the tilt of the Earth to the length of daytime. And last, relate the length of daytime to the amount of energy received. Are you ready to learn how the Earth moves? Great! So sit back, prepare your pen and paper, and let's begin. Let's discuss rotation. Rotation is the movement of the Earth on its axis. Earth's rotational axis is an imaginary straight line that runs through the North and South Pole. The Earth takes about 24 hours to complete one rotation around its axis. One period of rotation is also called or also known as one Earth day. In the illustration, the Earth's axis is drawn as a straight red line, and we can observe that the Earth axis is tilted at 23.5 degrees from the plane of its orbit around the Sun. Days and nights take place because of rotation. Portion facing the Sun experience day, while the other half that is facing away from the Sun experience night. The circle that divides the day from night on the globe is called the circle of illumination. What do you think would happen if the Earth did not rotate? You are correct. The portion of the Earth facing the Sun would always experience day, thus bringing continuous warmth to the region, while the other half would remain in darkness and be freezing. It will be freezing cold all the time. Life would not have been possible in such extreme conditions. The second motion of the Earth is revolution. Revolution is the motion of Earth around the Sun in its orbit. It takes 365 and 1/4 days or 1 year for the Earth to revolve around the Sun. We consider a year as consisting of 365 days only and ignore 6 hours for the sake of convenience. 6 hours saved every year are added to make one day over a span of 4 years. This day is added to the month of February. Thus, every 4th year, February is of 29 days instead of 28. Such a year with 366 days is called a leap year. Do you know when will be the next leap year? You are correct. The next leap year will be in 2024, so February in 2024 will have 29 days. Now let's observe this figure. You can see that the Earth is going around the Sun in an elliptical orbit. What can you observe on the Earth inclination? You are correct. The Earth is inclined in the same direction throughout its orbit. We already know that the Earth axis is tilted about 23.5 degrees relative to the Earth's orbit around the Sun. And because of this tilt, solstices occur. A solstice is an event in which Earth poles are most extremely inclined toward or away from Sun. In the diagram, we can see that the northern hemisphere is tilted towards the sun. This position of the Earth is cause summer solstice. Summer solstice occur every 21st of June. Now let's look at the effect of summer solstice to the different regions of Earth. In summer solstice, the rays of the sun fall directly on the Tropic of Cancer. As a result, these areas receive more heat while the areas near the poles receive less heat as the rays of the sun are slanting. Because North Pole is inclined towards the sun, the places beyond Arctic Circle experience continuous daylight for about 6 months. North Pole stays in full sunlight all day long throughout the entire summer. This is called the midnight sun. Let us watch this time-lapse taken from Spitsbergen. Spitsbergen is the largest island of the Svalbard archipelago, which is part of Norway in the Arctic Ocean. The midnight sun is a natural phenomenon that occurs during summer solstice in the Arctic Circle. It is when the sun remains visible in midnight. The sun never sets and stays in the horizon all day. When the midnight sun is seen in the Arctic, the sun appears to move from left to right. Remember, during summer solstice, a large portion of the northern hemisphere is getting light from the sun. It is summer in the regions of the north of the equator. The longest day and the shortest night at these places occur on 21st of June. At this time, in the southern hemisphere, all these conditions are reversed. It is winter season there, and the nights are longer than the days. The polar night occurs in the southern hemisphere during summer solstice. Polar night is a phenomenon where the nighttime lasts for more than 24 hours that occurs in the northernmost and southernmost region of the Earth. Do we experience summer solstice in the Philippines? What do you think? The answer is yes. We also experienced summer solstice in the country. Last year, June 21, 2021, 13 hours daylight was recorded in the Philippines, marking the longest period of daytime for that year. And this is due to the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere, where we experience the longest daylight of the year. Now let's observe this diagram. You can observe that South Pole tilts towards the sun, and because of this position, winter solstice occur. During winter solstice, the Tropic of Capricorn receives direct rays of the sun, and a larger portion of the southern hemisphere gets heated. Therefore, it is summer in the southern hemisphere with longer days and shorter night. It is when Antarctic Circle experiences the midnight sun. The reverse happens in the northern hemisphere, where they get less heat from the sun and experience longer nights and shorter day. During winter solstice, Polar night occurs in the Arctic region wherein the sun never rises and they experience 24 hours of darkness. Now let's observe this diagram. In this diagram, you can see that at this position, neither of the poles is tilted towards the sun. This position of the Earth is called equinox, derived from the Latin word equus, meaning equal, and nox, meaning night. During equinox, the whole Earth experiences equal days and equal nights. Equinox occur twice a year, once in March and in September. At this point, let's have an activity. Questions will be flashed on the screen and you will be given 10 seconds to key in your answer in the comment section. Let's begin. Question number 1. How long does it take the Earth to rotate on its axis? The correct answer is 24 hours. Question number 2. The Earth spinning around its axis causes day and night to happen. Is it true or false? The correct answer is true. Next, number 3. How long does it take the Earth to revolve around the sun? The correct answer is 1 year or 365 and 1/4 days. Next, question number 4. During summer solstice, the northern hemisphere receives less heat from the sun. True or false? The correct answer is false. Last question. During winter solstice, the southern hemisphere receives more heat from the sun. True or false? The answer is true. Great job, learners! Thank you for participating. Now, to summarize our lesson for today, remember that in winter solstice, the position of the Earth, it is the position of the Earth when the rays of the sun fall directly on the Tropic of Cancer, while winter solstice is the position of the Earth when the rays of the sun falls directly on the Tropic of Capricorn. In summer solstice, the North Pole is tilted towards the sun, while in winter solstice, the North Pole is tilted away from the sun. During summer solstice, a larger portion of the northern hemisphere gets light from the sun, hence, it is summer in the northern hemisphere. On the other hand, during winter solstice, a larger portion of the southern hemisphere gets light from the sun, hence, it is winter in the northern hemisphere. During the period of summer solstice, the northern hemisphere days are longer than nights, while during the period of winter solstice, the northern hemisphere nights are longer than days. Remember that equinox is the time when sun's path is nearest to the Earth's equator, while solstice is the time when the sun's path is farthest north or south from the Earth's equator. Also take note that equinox marks the beginning of the spring and fall, while solstice happen during summer and winter. Also remember, equinox do not change the length of days and night, while solstice results in the change in the length of day and night. This is the end of our episode for today. Thank you for watching and have a good day. Bye!